Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel. The start of a brand new week, but the end of a Premier League game week. The last fixture, they saved the big event till last. Manchester United against Everton. United are finally back. The international break is over. We've had a lot of football over the weekend. Finally, football back at Old Trafford, where we have not seen United play in well over 3 weeks now. It's been a long time coming, but United are finally back at home. And we know so far this season, we've been pretty good at home. We've been pretty solid. We've looked much stronger at home. We look more confident. We look more intense. This is an opportunity to continue that. And it's a big game because certain results this weekend have sort of gone in United's favour a little bit. Some good teams have dropped points this weekend. If United win, we go on to 21 points, which would be enough to put us in 5th. If we were to win by enough goals, we would find ourselves in 4th. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds like a good way to start a Monday morning, right? The talk that United could maybe, if we are phenomenal tonight, go into 4th. If we want to do that, we're going to have to beat a very tricky Everton side. Of course, led by David Moyes, a side that's never easy to beat. Everton are a very rigid side, very sturdy, but also got some really exciting players on the ball. If you look at that front four, there's some serious technical quality. So it's going to be a challenge for United tonight, and also a challenge for us today to go through this, to look at Everton, look at where they might be good, where they might be weak, and of course, importantly, look at Manchester United and figure out a starting 11 that we feel can win this football match. It's been a long weekend without United, but there's something nice about starting the Monday with something to look forward to. Before we get into any of that, though, I want to hear from you guys in the chat. I want to hear how you are, how your weekend has been. Have you caught any of the other games so far this weekend? And also, just how is life? How is life? How has life been treating you? We've got David in the chat as always. Like, I don't even need to say the next line because you know what's going to be with a gifted membership. David, thank you very much. Unfortunately, it went to Chad. But regardless, David, thank you very much. And guys, you know what to do. Get some love hearts in the chat for David and also just for everyone because it's the start of a new week, start of a new stream. Why not get some love in the chat? Must-win game. We could go 5th. Exactly. It's a great opportunity for United. If at the start of the season, particularly after Grimsby, you offered me the chance to be 5th heading into game week 13, we'd have taken it, right? We absolutely would have taken it. And it's a great opportunity. We know that United's form has been relatively good, relatively strong. 5 games unbeaten. Granted, 2 without a win. But we also know that we've got this run coming up where there is a chance for some momentum. And I think this is where it starts. I think our home form has to be where we're good. That's where we've got to be strong. Old Trafford's got to be a horrible place to come to. Hopefully that sort of continues tonight and we can just keep building on that and become this place where, like I said, no one wants to come. It's going to go great. We need to go there with great confidence. I think it's going to be a very difficult game for United, but yeah, confidence is going to be big. There will be setbacks in this game, I would assume, because I think Everton are a more tricky side than what we're giving them credit for. But I think United have got the players to overcome those problems. The question is, who are those players going to be? Who are we going to select? Kieran, good morning to you, mate. Watching from a beach in sunny Egypt. Kieran, I hope you are having a great time, my friend. I hope you're still watching the game later. I dare say it's probably a little bit warmer where you are right now than currently in this room because it's freezing cold. Freezing cold. But I hope you're having a good one. How confident do you feel, AJ? It's a weird one, right? Because United haven't played so long, I almost haven't taken the moment to process whether I'm confident or nervous. I'm just excited. Like, the first things first, I just want to watch United. That's what I'm excited to see, United at Old Trafford. Hopefully they don't make me regret that. I don't want to be eating my words in 24 hours. But yeah, I think I'm quite confident. I think I'm always quite confident about United, which is maybe a bad thing. Again, I look at a lot of the Manchester United players and I think we've got some serious quality. And I think there are ways in which we can hurt Everton. Inevitably, there will also be ways that they can hurt us as well. I watched the North London derby. Eze was excellent. It was a good game. Good game. Arsenal just looked phenomenal. And Spurs, I mean, Frank sort of set them up for failure, I think. And the players just didn't perform at all either. It was a good game, though, and Arsenal, yeah, just completely battered them, and they look very strong right now. Hang on, I can just hear a loud noise going on. I just need to check that this is okay. I'll be back 1 second. There's just been a loud noise in the house. I will be right back. All right, I'm back. Everything is okay. There was just a loud shout, which I had to check on. What were we talking about? It's hard not to like Eze. He's just good, isn't he? He's just good at football. He's got that bit of character. Love him. Right. Let's settle into the stream. Should we get into the Manchester United starting 11? Should we get into talking about that? Sorry, I'm a little bit off now because of that. Recompose. Start again. Manchester United. How should we set up tonight to try and win this football match? That is ultimately the question. I think some of these positions this week are going to pick themselves. You know, we start in goal. It's going to be Lomans. It's going to be Lomans. It's going to be Lomans. Was it Callum? No, it wasn't actually Callum. It's okay. Everything's sorted. It's fine. Lomans is going to play in goal for Manchester United. Sorted. Bish bash bosh. Easy as that. Back three. Again, I think picks itself, right? Because we don't have Harry Maguire available this week. He's out with a knock. Lisandro Martinez may be back. Ruben Amorim has suggested there is a chance for Licha to come back into the side. But I don't think it'll be today. And if it is, I think it would be late on if we found ourselves in a comfortable position. I think it would be weird to sort of throw him straight in. So I don't think we'll see Lisandro Martinez. Heaven and that haven't really featured this season. So it sort of feels to me a little bit like it might just be these guys. It might just be that back three. Nice and easy. I think in an ideal world, we'd be looking at Harry Maguire wanting to play this game. Because Everton are a very, very physical team. If you look at these numbers, that's quite impressive, right? The percentage of their goals, or shots, sorry, that have come from set pieces, no one has more than Everton. 43% of their shots come from set pieces. That's a lot. That's a lot. They'll be a threat. If you look at their backline, they've got some seriously physical players in there. I mean, Tarkowski's one of the best aerial players in the league. Michael Keane's not short. And then you've got O'Brien at fullback, who is basically another centre-back. So it's an incredibly physical team. Ideally, we would have Harry Maguire to help us on set pieces. But I don't think we do, right? Unless I'm missing something. The last I saw was on Friday or whenever it was that Maguire wouldn't be playing. So I believe it's this three that we go with. I mean, I'm now thinking ahead, and I'm thinking as we look into midfield as well. Is the midfield also quite obvious? Is the midfield also something that picks itself? And is that a good thing or is it a bad thing? Is this a suggestion that we're becoming a little bit predictable? Or is it an excellent sign that we've finally got a base and a sort of foundation that we can keep building on? Also, I just realised that I've got the chat in the wrong setting, so I'm not seeing certain messages. There we go, that's better. There we go, that's better. If Maguire plays, we tend to drop deep naturally. It's like the team psychologically feels the need to drop deep. So it's better that De Ligt is the central centre-back. Yeah, I think I always would have gone with this back three regardless, personally. But I get the feeling that Amorim may have wanted Maguire in the team. Let me just quickly sort something out. Bosh. Feels like only the front three isn't predictable. Yeah, there's a slight conversation at wing-back, I think, depending on who the opposition are. Mainly on the left side. I think as a fan base, we're always going to pick a certain player on the right. The left side's a bit more open to conversation. But it's interesting. I think in midfield, we're talking Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes. The only real talk is what way round do they play? Like, does Casemiro play left or right? But I'm not sure that's something that we can truly figure out until we've got the rest of the team in place. So actually, the start of the stream, there's a lot to talk about today. But the start of the stream feels quite straightforward, right? This feels a bit too easy. Is this what happens when we see this? Is this what happens when you go 5 games unbeaten? Like suddenly you don't have to rip things up and start again every week. The team just sort of starts picking itself because you've got yourselves in a bit of form. It's weird. It's weird. He started Mbeumo and Ahmad at 10 versus Spurs. Surely he won't tonight. Go Ahmad right wing back and not Maz, unless he's worried about Grealish. Yeah, it's a tricky one because I think Everton are good. I think their forwards are good. And I am a little bit worried about the way that their forwards match up with our defenders. But I think we all feel at Old Trafford that's where we want to see a more dominant front-footed United, which normally means Ahmad at wing back as opposed to Mazraoui. Because I think Mazraoui said this himself in an interview or a press conference the other day. playing right wing back requires a lot of final actions in the final third, a delivery, a cross, whatever. And he's just sort of not equipped to do it compared to Ahmad. I think Dorgu will play. He will need to play because of his work rate. Let's have the wing back conversation. Okay, let's drag some players in, because this is probably the first position where there's actually a debate to be had over who's the better player, who's the better fit for this game, who's in better form. And it also sort of dictates who we play in inside forward positions, I often feel, as well. So, these are the options, I think. Now, of course, Dalot can always move to the right-hand side. That is always something that he can do. He can come over here. At the moment, he's been more regularly on the left. How do you guys see these matchups? Because we've got to remember that in terms of Everton's most threatening players, we probably are looking at the two wide players. I think Grealish is phenomenal. He's got a little bit quieter perhaps in the last couple of weeks, but I think he's a great player still. I'm a big fan of Grealish. One of his biggest fans, to be honest. I absolutely love the bloke. I think he's great at football. And then you've got Njai on the other side, who is also incredibly threatening. The vibe I always get from both of them is that they like to come inside a little bit if possible, that they like to sort of come into these positions, and maybe that's a slight worry behind our midfielders. The question is, it's getting that balance between we want to be dominant, we want to be on the front foot, we want to play our football, of course, but also we need to sort of give Everton some respect as well and acknowledge the fact that they've got some seriously good players that if we don't monitor them properly, they're going to hurt us. So, this isn't a week for wingers on both sides. That would be naive, I think, in a game like this. So we're probably talking, I think for me, we're talking, I would go Ahmad on the right, would be my choice. Yes, Grealish is going to be a problem in behind. He just is. That's always going to be the case. I still think we should try and play to our strengths where possible. So personally, I would go Ahmad here, and then have a conversation of basically which fullback you play at wing-back on the left. Do people agree with that or not? Now, the only thing which feels a little bit backwards here is actually the way that Everton's set up. We would have our more defensive player on the left, where Everton have their more defensive fullback, which is a little bit off, but it's sort of where we're left at the moment with the players that we've got and the squad we've got at our disposal. So, is that how you guys feel as well? Or do some of you feel that we should see a defender on the right side, a Dalot, a Mazraoui? Let me know what you think in the chat. I just quickly need to pop off a message real quick. What do we think? Could well be a Dalot start on the left, Dorgu as an impact sub, but then vice versa would constitute a push for early goals. The thing we've got to consider as well at wing-back is the set pieces. If we go here, Everton are good on them. Everton are good on them. We don't have a Maguire. We don't have Sesko. But we don't have either of them. No Maguire, no Sesko. Two of our biggest aerial threats. Two of our best players for defending crosses into the box. Dalot probably is aerially a little bit stronger than Patrick Dorgu. So, whilst I would prefer to see Dorgu on the ball for the fact that he's left-footed, and I think the dynamic's a little bit nicer, I think Amorim will go Dalot. Because Dalot is one of our more physical players. He's not exactly a monster in the air by any means, don't get me wrong. But he is one of our more physical players. I think he's one of those players who's a little bit taller. He's decent in the air. I think for that reason we'll see Dalot. So I think it will be Dalot left. And I think he'll go Ahmad on the right. I think. That's my guess. Because I don't think at Old Trafford he'll want to go for 5 defenders. I don't think. I think Amorim will play Mazraoui on the right with Yoro. He seems to not like Yoro and Ahmad together. That's a fair comment. I mean, Yoro and Ahmad is a very young right side. It is definitely something to think about if we are talking about the threat of Jack Grealish. I just always have in my head, we're talking about United tonight, trying to push for a spot in the top 5, potentially in the top 4. If we really feel serious about the claims that we can be up there, I think Everton are a side that we should be attacking. As good as they are. As threatening as they are in transition and all of those things, of course. I just think we should be trying to get on the front foot and trying to play our football where possible. I think we won't try winning aerial battles. We will try getting the second balls and try catching them out on the break. It will be exactly like Liverpool. Let's talk about that. Where is it? I'm blind. Here it is. Percentage of passes launched by goalkeepers so far in the Premier League this season. Now, I believe, this is FB Ref, I believe they class launched as over 40 yards, I think. So, basically, 54.8% of the distribution from Everton's keeper goes over 40 yards. Only United and Forest have more. So this is two teams that feel quite long ball, right? Now, I'm hopeful that Old Trafford we will see a more proactive approach where possible, that we will try and get on the ball and play a bit more. But I still think United are in a position where we're not great in the first phase. We're not the smoothest team in the world, right? So I think the long ball will still be a part of our game. This is going to be a big part of this match. A huge part of this match. How United play on Everton's long balls, but also on our own. I think this is something that we have to be good at. I think there's no other option almost. Mazraoui, right wing back, Dorgu, left wing back alternatively, but we will have more defenders on the pitch than I would like. Yeah, I'm with you, David. Just in an ideal world, we have an attacker. That's always our preference, right? Steve, good morning, mate. 13-month membership. What a flex. Love hearts for Steve, guys. I want to see if a 4-4-2 out of possession works without Šeško. Yeah, that attacking conversation, we sort of had it a little bit on Friday last week. We sort of had that conversation about how we're going to replace Šeško. We discussed it more on the ball, to be honest, than off the ball, but we are going to need to talk about it again. We are going to need to discuss it again today. Anyway, wing-back. Steve, what are your thoughts? Who is wing-back for this game? I'm leaning towards Ahmad and Dalot. That's what I'm leaning towards. The only problem I've got with that is Dalot is a right-footed player on the left, which isn't ideal. For a bit of context, for those just joining, saying Dalot sounds mental, right? His form has been horrendous. But Everton are very strong on set pieces. We're missing Šeško. We're missing Maguire. Dalot's better in the air than Dorgu. Makes sense for set pieces. That's sort of my thinking. That's sort of my logic behind that decision. If you guys have got reasons to disagree, though, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear why you think otherwise. Why Dorgu? What can Dorgu bring that perhaps others won't? We do also need to think about Everton. We do need to think about Everton and how they approach the game defensively, because they seem to do it in a few different ways. So in moments, they press really high. Let's just unhighlight. What's the word for unhighlight? I don't know. Anyway, sometimes Everton will go full-on 4-4-2 press. David Moyes, the manager, what else do you expect? A little bit of 4-4-2, squeezing nice and high. Lovely. Sometimes they also go into a bit of a diamond. James Garner, former United player, will go a little bit higher, almost into a 10 roll, and Idrissa Gueye will play a little bit deeper, almost as a solo pivot in midfield. So that's often how they press. Beyond that, as they drop a little bit deeper, they tend to start initially as a sort of compact 4-4-2 in a mid-block. They are difficult to play through. They're well coached, well drilled, of course. But what sort of happens as the opposition come forward, we see O'Brien, the right back, who profiles like a centre-back, starts to come across, Tarkowski comes across, and Njai on the right will actually often drop deeper, and he sometimes ends up sort of in a back five, particularly in their loss against Tottenham around a month ago. This was quite a big theme to see Njai forced back by Jed Spence, I think it was, on the day. So this might be something that we see from United. And that might also play into who you want down the left-hand side, but also the right, I guess. But just be aware of the fact that the Everton could at times drop into a 5-3-2 or perhaps even a 5-4-1. It's very possible that they will do that. So I think they would almost start 4-4-2 and potentially, if United are dominant, we could force them back into the 5, which would be quite fun to see, actually. If we can force a team back, if we can sort of suffocate them and force them to defend deep behind the ball. I'd like to see that. I think Dalot is a decent player defensively, but going forward, he lacks the delivery in the final ball. I would rather try Mazraoui on the left wing-back position. How do we feel about Mazraoui sort of aerially on set pieces? I always feel that Dalot's a little bit stronger for me personally. But what do you guys think? Good to sneeze. We will be avoiding crosses and set pieces because that's their strong point. That being said, Amorim will want us to win the ball as far as possible from our goal. That tends to be the theme at Old Trafford. We tend to see at Old Trafford United a bit more aggressive, a bit more front-footed, and just playing the game 20 yards higher up the pitch, particularly like you've said when it comes to defending, keeping the ball away. I'm of the opinion that the second Everton start putting balls into the box, I'm going to be concerned about United. That's the case for every team we play, because I don't trust us defending our box. So in my opinion, let's stop the crosses, let's play high. We know Dalot isn't great at stopping crosses. So that is certainly an argument against playing Dalot. When Njai is to get wide in a 1 versus 1, Dalot is terrible at stopping the ball into the box. So that is something sort of against him, I guess, in that argument. Do you think Amorim will ever pick Shaw as left wing back when Lisandro Martinez is back? He actually mentioned this the other day. He was asked, and I think it's a great question, can Shaw play left wing back? And he said yes. You know, he's an intelligent player, he's a good player, all of that stuff. But the physical load is very different when you play wing back to when you play centre back. He also said that Shaw is in a good place right now in terms of his fitness. So I think we might see it at some point, but I'm sort of hesitant to suggest it will be a regular thing. I don't think it's something that we're going to see a lot of. I don't think. I think Mazraoui is decent aerially, not much of a drop-off, I guess. Yeah, I'm not sure. Mazraoui is very good in the air. Obviously, he's not centre-back level, but neither's Dalot. So, you know, basically what I'm trying to think, if Everton are so good on these set pieces, is Dalot that much better than Mazraoui that it warrants a start over him? The problem I always have is I just don't view Mazraoui as a wing-back, full stop. There is not an environment, there's not a scenario where I see this fella as a wing-back. In terms of intensity getting up and down, defending as a wing-back, attacking as a wing-back, it doesn't quite work for me personally. I think we've got other players that are better at it. I think his best position still in this system is as an outside centre-back. The problem is he's not going to displace those guys that are currently there. So for me right now, as crazy as it sounds for such a good player, for me he's actually sort of a squad player right now rather than someone that should be starting every week. Let me just sort this. There we go. Mazraoui is even more of a fullback than Dalot. At the moment, he's likely to be a sub for York. Yeah, there you go. Literally what I was then saying. Perfect. Completely agree. I'll start Dorgu because he will be decent, if not bad, in terms of ball carrying. Defensively, Dorgu is better than Dalot too, in my opinion. Should we do a vote? Let's do a vote for left wing back because we haven't done a poll for a while. So let's go Dalot, Dorgu, Mazraoui, shall we? I get a feeling I know where this is going to go, but let's do it. Let's do it. Have a good one, Kieran, mate. Enjoy the rest of your time there, my friend. Thanks for dropping by. We are debating which mid-right back should start at left wing back. There lies the issue. Sign someone in the summer. Great comment. Great comment. Is there one in January that we can get? I don't know. But yeah, it's a great point. We don't have many left wing backs at this club. We don't have many wing backs full stop, for me personally. I think Dorgu is better in this situation because if Mount will play, then we will have better chances. Yeah, and I think Kieran pointed that out a few minutes ago, but before he left earlier. The inside forward that you play does also have a knock-on effect of who you fancy at wing back, which is something to consider. Now, when we get to talking about the forwards, a conversation that we're going to have is the way that Everton defend. Now, this was a little graphic made by FPL Meerkat, which I think is just a great name. A great name. So check them out on Twitter. This is where Everton are conceding their goals so far this season. Now, where it says set pieces 0 and corners 2, I assume that means set pieces 0's free kicks, I assume, is what is meant by that. But you can see the total goals that I've conceded, 13, 12 of which non-penalties. They're coming down the right. United's attacking right, Everton's defensive left. This might be something that we can look at. If you look at that red dot, orange dot, pink dot, blue dot, all sort of close to each other. Mbumo in there, Ahmad in there, might be something for us to consider. Should we go for broke this winter? I mean, it's a bit of a waste to not push for Champions League spots. Yeah, I think we should. I don't know. It depends if the player is going to come up. I don't think we should just go and sign anyone in January. But I think if there's a player that we've watched for a long time, or there's a player that we feel will upgrade the squad drastically, then I think we should be looking at it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, the reason I've brought this up now is because for me it does play a part in the wing-back conversation. Because if we're looking at this, you would think surely Mbeumo and Ahmad close to each other down the right, we've got to be looking at getting at that, right? So you've got to play Mbeumo right 10. You've got to play Ahmad right wing-back. The reason I point that out is because they're both left-footed. So that's two of our very few left-footed players playing on the right side. So that affects who you play at wing-back. See, Mbeumo over the last couple of games has had different positions. The first one on the left-hand side there is against Nottingham Forest, where he played on the right 10. Then the second graphic, we've got him on the left 10 against Tottenham. Now, I think he played well in both games. These were the first two games that he only had one shot, which is something that we need to work on. We need to get him back into better shooting positions. But he is an option on the left if you want a left footer there. But if we're not playing Mbeumo there, if we're saying Mbeumo's got to play right because of this, then I start to go towards Dorgu. I start to go towards Dorgu at that point. Because if it's not Mbeumo here and it's not Ahmad here, it's going to be a right-footed player. And if we were to go, let's say Dalot, for example, we'd be looking at left-footed Shaw, nice, but then right-footed Casemiro, right-footed Dalot, and a right-footed left 10. So if we are of the opinion that Mbeumo's got to play right 10, which may not be the case, there is still a conversation to have. But if we do think that, I think Dorgu makes sense on the left for the extra left-footed player. Defensively on set pieces and stuff like that, it concerns me a little bit. I'm not in love with the idea. But it might allow us to sort of target Everton's weakness while still playing, in a sense, to our strengths. So, and the poll seems to agree, 80% going for Patrick Dorgu. So let's close the poll there. That's pretty one-sided. Dorgu comes into this position. Just to clarify, are we happy with Ahmad on the right? Are we happy with that? I assume most people will be. Stephanie, good morning. I hope you're well. That's the side where we play better too. Yeah, it arguably lines up quite nicely. It's quite nice. I mean, I don't necessarily believe in a left side should be a naturally left-footed player. I mean, players like Mount and Bruno is good enough on their left. I don't think they all have to be. I don't think you need a left-footed centre-back, wing-back, midfielder and 10. But I think somewhere in the dynamic you need a left foot. Because as much as, yeah, Mount is good on his left foot, if he has a choice, he's going to take an extra touch, he's going to chop and get it onto his right. As good as he is on his left. Same with Bruno. He's good on his left, but he's always going to take the extra chop to get it back on his right if he's got the time to do so. So having someone who is naturally left-footed, I think, helps. You don't need all of them. But having one or two is handy. And that's where Dorgu can be very useful for us. Dorgu will be hooking some crosses in, or better, delivering inside to Mason Mount on the left in Šeško's absence. Yeah, I mean, our crossing threat is something we're going to have to figure out, and that's sort of the next conversation now. How the front three dynamic comes together, because we are without a striker. Now, of course, Xerxes might come in, but he's still not a striker in the same mould of Šeško. So we are without a box presence, potentially, for tonight's game. Who do we have? We have Xerxes. We could see Xerxes come into the team. That's definitely one option. Chidowobi was mentioned in the press conference, but it was sort of mentioned in a... We rushed it too much last year because we had to. He's still young. So for me, he doesn't feel like he's in contention at the moment. So it's Xerxes, it's Cunha. Cunha could play up front. There is a slight fitness concern there. He missed a Christmas light switch on or something, was it, over the weekend? Because of some sort of medical reason. I'm really hoping that is like the most precautionary thing we've ever seen in our lives and that he's absolutely fine. I don't believe... Son, if Son is here, maybe Son can tell us, but I don't believe there's been any sort of official announcement saying that he's injured. So I'm assuming Cunha is in the conversation at the very least. Then we've got Mbeumo. Then we've got Mount. And also... Do I have the graphic somewhere? I don't. I forgot to put it in. That's annoying. We also have Lacey. Now, Lacey in the starting 11 feels a little bit questionable. But apparently, I said I forgot to get the graphic today. Apparently, he's set to be in the squad tonight, which is a lot of fun. So maybe not someone that we talk about from the starting 11, but should United need a goal late on and we're lacking attacking options, Lacey might be someone that could come into the conversation, which, more than anything, is just a lot of fun. So that would be cool to see. It would also imply maybe we're in a comfortable position, 3-0 up and then you bring him in. That'd be lovely. That'd be lovely. He's available. He's in training. Lovely. Lovely. We've got Cunha. So that's the question now. These four, who starts is important, but also where they start, I think, is huge. Mbeumo is the conversation that I want to have. Mbeumo is the one. By the way, before we do that, shout out to everyone in the stream so far who's liked, subscribed. You guys are legends. If you haven't liked, don't want to be rude, but I'm offended. I'm offended. If you could please leave a like on the stream, that'd be amazing. It helps so much. It tells YouTube that people like the content, which pushes the content to more people, which means we can upgrade the content even further in the future. So if you could please leave a like, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated. So yes, no official announcement from the club that he's injured, just a minor knock. Let's assume, for the sake of conversation, that Cunha is going to be available. What do you do with Mbeumo? Now, there's two arguments to have here. For me, we don't put him up front, I don't think. That's not what I would be doing. Give him a bit of time, a separation away from the centre-backs. Would be the play for me personally. So the question is, Mbeumo right or Mbeumo left? By the way, just a bit more information from Sun. Cunha got the knock on Saturday's training. The training pictures that were released were of Friday's training, so he is still technically a doubt. Keep that in mind. Sun always there with the information. Let's hope he's going to be fine. Mbeumo, right or left? Right or left is the question. What's the answer? What's the answer? What's the argument? The argument is right side. Mbeumo is your best player so far this season. I think most would agree. Playing in his best position. He, in certain games in the past 5, has started to build that dynamic with Ahmad. They've started to link up. The chemistry has been building. They seem to understand each other a little bit better. The counter movements are working nicer. They're working space for each other. One goes in, the other goes out. The other guy goes in, the other guy goes out. Lovely. You get Mbeumo in shooting situations. He can come from the right-hand side. He can come onto his stronger left foot, and he can shoot at goal. We saw just a few moments ago that Everton are slightly weak, or it's their weakest point defensively, is that right-sided zone where Mbeumo loves to attack. So there is that argument for starting Mbeumo. What's the negative of playing Mbeumo on the right? More than anything, the negative is what it does to our left side. Because it means that it has to be Mount, Cunha, Xerxes, or maybe Kobe... voice, Jesus. Maybe Kobe Menu. There has been some murmurs that he could come into the team on the left, although he does have his own fitness concerns. The problem I've got here now is just, if Everton are to drop into a back 5 this side, and we're looking at Njai maybe dropping in, I don't think he's the most amazing 1-versus-1 defender I've seen. The problem I've got over here is that we don't have a winger to actually attack that potential weakness. None of these guys are great dribblers. Good carriers, of course, in Cunha. A phenomenal carrier. But I just think there's something you can get at. I think there's something you can get at here. And I wonder if Mbeumo could be useful for it. He could be useful for it. So the argument for Mbeumo on the left is that you get a winger on both sides of the pitch. Now rather than just having, let's imagine it's this, right? Let's just do this for the sake of it. This side feels very flat compared to this side when Mbeumo plays on the right. If we were to put Mbeumo on the left, we now get ourselves a winger on each side, Ahmad and Mbeumo, which you think gives us a bit more just creativity, a bit more spark, a little bit less predictable, which is fun. But we now don't have Mbeumo on the right. We don't have him shooting in such a strong, favourable position. So what do you reckon? Let's do a poll. Mbeumo, my keyboard is like miles away. Mbeumo, right, left, nice and straightforward. My nose is running. It's going to sneeze. We're good. We're living. We're living. We're living. We're living. We're living. Where do you put Mbeumo? No, I think most people are going to go right. Is Everton a 3-5-2? No. So what Everton... it's weird, right? And this is why formations are not the most important conversation in football. Because Everton play a lot of shapes. They play a lot of shapes. Let's just quickly go through it. So, on paper, the Everton team will come out tonight, and it will appear to be a 4-2-3-1. It will look something like this in terms of personnel. Dewsbury Hall often plays in a 10, with Grealish and Njai either side. Beto up top. It's a 4-2-3-1. Lovely. When they defend, it changes. So, Dewsbury Hall will often jump forward, and now it's a 4-4-2, particularly when they're high pressing. Also, when they high press, sometimes they will go to a 4-4-2 diamond. Garner will move a little bit higher, and Idrissa Gueye will play a little bit deeper. Now they're in a diamond shape. Sometimes they will then drop into their mid-block, where it comes back to a 4-4-2. It comes back to a 4-4-2. But what we do see, when a team commits players forward down the left, is that the right winger will often drop almost into a back five. He's not actually now a wing back. He's a winger doing his defensive shift. But that might be something that we could look at potentially exploiting, maybe. I don't know. If Everton won't press, maybe we want Cobby and Bruno in the middle to progress the ball centrally. Yeah, I guess the question is, how aggressive are Everton going to be from their block? And I think that's something that can be a little bit inconsistent. The Dorgu-Cunha combo is better than the Dorgu and Bumo combo. That's fair, that's fair. Now, you know, personally, I'm always... Well, I've got conflicting ideas here, because in one moment I think, get players that are good at football and put them where they like playing. And Bumo's amazing. He likes playing on the right. Get him on the right. Don't overcomplicate it. It's nice and easy. Sorted. But I'm also always of the opinion that you should have a winger on both sides. And this is where my ideas of football are sort of battling each other. They're going head to head, and I don't know which side's going to come out on top. I don't know what to go for here. I don't know what to suggest. I like the Mbumo left side balance that it gives the team, because I also think Mount, if he was to then come in on the right, can do a lot of good work with Ahmad. I think that can be quite a nice little, you know, quite a nice partnership, because Mount is very selfless with his work off the ball, which would help Ahmad. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I mean, the poll is going to give us a pretty conclusive answer. 87%, 88% of people, 87, change him, say that Mbumo should go on the right. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I'm never going to complain about getting our best player in his best position. That's lovely. So the other question now is, can I find Xerxes? And I can. This feels a little bit obvious. Who plays out of these guys? Cunha feels like a game breaker, particularly at Old Trafford. We want to get on the front foot. We want to break a team down. We want to score goals. We want to take the game to them. Cunha always feels like a personality that you want to use in that sort of game. He always feels like someone that you want to use. It also always feels like we are desperately trying to find a way to get Mason Mount into the team. We've sort of got a free pass here. Because of Šeško's injury, we've got an easy way of getting Mount into things. To play him. Is it as simple as that for you guys? Or do some of you want to see Xerxes come in? Both Cunha and Mbumo can play all three forward positions that helps with Šeško out. It's huge. It's huge having those versatile players. That's why someone like Semenyo last summer was always interesting, because he was another one who could do the job of a few different players, which is great to have, right? But Amorim, he's lost his striker. It's a big problem, but he's got different players that can come in and fill in, and I think that's huge for him. I think it's huge for him. What do we reckon here? Is it as simple as Mount and Cunha? Xerxes has to play so we can get Bruno and Mbumo and Cunha running in behind. See, in theory, Marcus, I agree. The problem is Cunha doesn't make that many runs beyond the ball, and Bruno likes to, but when he plays double pivot, he's sort of restricted a little bit just because of how deep he starts. He can still do it, but not as regularly as he would in the front line. So that's my concern a little bit. But you also have a similar concern with Cunha as well. Now, by the way, Xerxes should get minutes tonight. Let's make no mistake there. Silver Server said it. 25 minutes at least, surely. I'd think so. I'd think so. I want to do a poll, but I can't figure out how to do it. Should we just do... I'm going to call the poll CF, centre forward, because I'm not going to go as far as calling it a striker because of the players that we've got there. But I'm going to put Cunha and Xerxes into the conversation. I really need to sneeze, but I can't. Let's do the poll. Centre forward, Cunha or Xerxes? Who are we fancying this week? What are we feeling? Now, I think if either of them try to go shoulder to shoulder with Tarkowski and Keane, they're going to find it difficult. I think if either of them try and get on the end of crosses, they're going to find it difficult. So the play will probably be to drop off away, to get behind the midfield rather than behind the centre backs. Who's going to be better at doing that? Cunha's got the strength. Xerxes has the subtlety. How important is Mount? Does Mount need to play? Do we need to find a way for Mount in? If not, you could go Xerxes and Cunha. But then are they too similar to each other? Do they want to take up two similar zones? I don't know. Both Cunha and Mount protect our central midfield duo. That's why they played versus Arsenal and Liverpool this season. I think particularly Mount. Yeah, I think he's great defensively, right? And I think someone made a comment earlier that Mount is a defensive player, so therefore shouldn't start at Old Trafford. I think it's also important to remember that we have to be able to defend at Old Trafford. As much as we want to be attacking, we want to be on the front foot, we want to score goals, sure. We've got to be able to defend. And I think calling Mount a defensive player is a blanket statement, which doesn't really go into the detail that's required. When I hear the term defensive player, I think of someone who's defended our box. Mount's not that. When Mount defends, he helps the team defend high. He leads the press. He backs up the press very well. He'll have the team higher. So, yeah, maybe he is a player that is defensive, but I think actually you're just saying he's good defensively, which is what we want in our team. And, you know, we saw against Brighton, the thing that made us so good last time we played at Old Trafford was how attacking we were, how brave we were in the press. If you remember, Shaw went man-to-man all afternoon. And I think Mount is someone who helps a lot with that sort of game plan. If we want to replicate that performance, which maybe we don't, but if we do, Mount is someone that suddenly becomes a very useful player for us. And someone that we should consider. Dorgu right wing back, Ahmad right 10, then Mbumo left 10. Steve, I actually have been meaning to talk about this for a while. The problem is I don't know my opinion on it yet. Will we ever see Dorgu right wing back again? Because we signed him right and we were all excited about Dorgu left wing back, the left foot on the left, and then his first game he came in and played right wing back and it was like, oh, hang on. We know that Amorim likes a left footer on the right. Is there a world where Dorgu could play right side? Is that possible? Now I think if that lineup came out, you know, Dalot was left wing back, Dorgu was right wing back, Ahmad and Mbumo were in the 10s, something like that. I think people would kick off a little bit and say that Amorim's lost his mind and is overcomplicating it. But there is an interesting conversation to have there in terms of the balance. Get Mount in as the left forward with Cunha up front. Give Xerxes some minutes in the second half. Makes sense to me. Currently, Stephanie reckons we have 186 people watching, but only 51 likes. Only 51 likes. Could you please leave a like on the stream? Let's get minimum 80 likes. That seems reasonable, right? So if you're watching the stream right now, and you're not hating it, and you're not having a horrible time, if you could leave a like, that'd be amazing. That'd be great. I think it's important that we should overload one side of their defence so much that they tweak their defence and then switch our tactics and use a completely different approach that frustrates them. So I assume you're suggesting Mbumo, right? With Ahmad, yeah, to sort of overload that one side. The poll is also going Cunha up front. It's close, it's 52% to 48%, but it is going Cunha. So let's go Cunha in the team. If it's Cunha in the team, it's probably not Xerxes, which means Mount here, which means Dorgu over here, which means our starting 11 finishes like this. And it's strong. It is strong. It's a good team. It's a very strong team. There's a lot of good pressing ability, a lot of mobility in there. A lot of experience in there as well, which I think is important. You know, in that spine with De Ligt, Casemiro, Bruno, Mbumo, Cunha. Mount as well, that's nice. That's nice. I don't mind the team. I'm trying to think, we had the conversation earlier about defending in a 4-4-2 without Šeško. And I'm trying to think if this team can do it. And just looking at it, that 4-4-2 looks on the second you play a fullback on one side. And actually, in terms of shifting into that 4-4-2, it keeps Cunha and Mbumo really nice and high. Really nice and high for transitions, for attacks, which is quite nice. I think actually defensively as a 4-4-2, This looks a lot of fun. It's a shame we've got a fullback in the middle and a centre-back out wide, but that's sort of a problem that Amorim creates for himself with his stubbornness. But I think Mount here can really help out Casemiro's lack of mobility at times. Can also help out Dorgu defending against the dangerous Everton players. I don't mind that. You know, imagine United were to squeeze really high. Let's say Everton want to play, which they won't do a lot of. You know, I think they will be quite direct. But there is that moment where United could go man-to-man, and I sort of look at the matchups, and I'm confident, apart from the wide 1v1s. They leave me a little bit concerned. But apart from that, I quite like the matchups that we can create. I think that's quite good. The problem is, as we said, if I can find it, Everton do like a long ball. They do like a long ball. So, how often will we get into that pressing moment? I'm not sure. But, right, if a long ball game is created, then this is up there with our best 11 to deal with it. In terms of the second ball, you know, Mount, Cunha, Bruno all being in the team helps us a lot. Sorry, I just need to sneeze. I'll be back 1 second. You should listen to that, by the way. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. You should do that. By the way, Steve, I know you made the thing for when I sneeze. We got a copyright strike. Yeah. Not ideal. It's not a problem. Don't worry about it. It's just like a warning one. But yeah, we did get copyrighted for the music. So that's why I'm not using that. It's nothing against it. If you want to remake it with a different song, feel free. But I don't know why we did, because we didn't the first time. So I'm not sure. YouTube, I guess. Only one in this team that can run the channels is Mbumo. I'd rather have Xerxes at striker and use Cunha's best qualities as left 10. The problem is Cunha left 10 still doesn't exactly run the channels that much. So I don't know that we solve that problem. I think we do just have a lack of runners in the squad when you take out Sesko. I think we are only left with the one, which is a bit of a problem. I'm also just trying to sort of cast an eye towards our bench and looking at how we may be able to impact the game. A lot of the squad is quite fresh. Some of them didn't play international football. Some of them did, but that was a while ago now. Of course, we're the latest in the weekend, so we've had the most break. From the bench, we're looking at Dalot, Mazraoui, maybe Lissandro Martinez. You could imagine Heaven would be there as well. Ugarte, Kobe. Let's move these higher. Let's whack them up here. Let's get up here, lads. Get up here. Xerxes, Lacey? I can imagine that sort of bench. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then a goalkeeper. I can imagine that. I can see that. That works. Players that you'd be looking at being really effective from the bench would be maybe Dalot's intensity late on in this sort of game. It helps a lot. Ugarte, Kobe. You know, these would be maybe your 5 subs that you might look at if you're trying to score a goal. It's a little bit light. It's a little bit light. You know, there's a lack of real flair and like excitement and goal scoring, more importantly. But it's not bad. It's not bad. They're decent players for the job, and you know, any chance to see Lacey would be a lot of fun. Kobe and Xerxes are both players that deserve minutes at some point, and this is a great opportunity, providing Kobe is fit. So I think they'll both be looking at trying to get on the pitch and trying to make a difference. And I think that's the big thing. Make a difference. If you are Kobe, if you are Xerxes, Ugarte, sure, whoever. Dalot, struggling for minutes, struggling to get into the first team. If you get on, make an impact. You know, make it impossible to leave you out next week. I think that's the big message. Could Dorgu overlap more if Mount plays left 10 and Cunha 9? And if Dorgu plays high, does Mount fill in when Njai's on the break, or does Shaw step up? Yeah, so I think that's why Mount could be useful. Because he does this great job of being selfless, and he sort of always covers for someone, and he's always willing to help out. I think there is a moment where he could make an extra midfielder, and you could almost end up like 3-3-4, if you see what I'm saying there. And yeah, I think Mount could do a lot of good work down this side. I would like to see Shaw being aggressive when we can. We were looking at that sort of man-to-man situation earlier. I think we had Shaw on Dewsbury Hall for goal kicks. That feels nice. That feels like it suits him more than what a big physical centre-back like Beto would. Striker, sorry. He's not centre-back. I'm looking at it and I'm feeling quite confident. I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling quite confident. Let's get to predictions. Let's hear what you guys have to say in the chat. Now, I want predictions. I want your scoreline, I want your goal scorers, and I want your theme of game. Are we going to see United dominating the ball? Are we going to see United parking the bus? United playing long? United playing transitional? United playing tiki-taka? What are we going to see? I try my best, Alex. I try my best. Predictions. What we feeling? And also, if you are a member of the channel, which several of you are as I look through the chat, when you make your prediction, you can use emojis, YouTube emojis, but we've got some custom ones. So you can actually use like little United players, just like Alex has done there. Perfectly. Right on cue. Alex says 2-1 to United with Mbeumo and Cunha getting the goals. It would be lovely to see Cunha back on the score sheet. I would love to see Cunha getting himself a goal. I feel like he needs it. Goals, goals, goals. 4-2 United. I'm all for that. I am all for that. Although conceding 2 is never fun, but a 4-2 win, we'll take that. 3-1 United, and Mbeumo, Cunha and Bruno all to score. 3-2 United. There's a lot of goals being predicted here. 3-1, Ahmad, Cunha, Casemiro. Callum says best performance so far this season. 4-0, Cunha, Mbeumo, Yoro and Bruno. Mbeumo, Ahmad, Cunha and Bruno gets an assist for a 3-1 win. I could do with the Bruno assist for my FPL. 4-0 says Sudden, Mount, Bruno, Mbeumo, Ahmad and Lomans getting himself another clean sheet, which would be really nice. I'd love to see a day where United keep a clean sheet. That would be phenomenal. Oh, I love the depth of this prediction. 4-0 United, Mbeumo with a tap-in, Cunha with a bit of a solo goal, De Ligt header and an Ahmad screamer. Yes, please. We don't want to concede goals again. Better to score late and win 1-0. Mason helping the midfield. Let's have a look. League table, right? Let's say we find a 3-0 win. It puts us in a lovely position. Steve in the chat going for a Lomans hat-trick, I believe that is. That's the only way I can interpret that. A win, 3 points, would put us on to 21. Equal with Villa. Goal difference, we're a little bit behind. We're a little bit weak. Got a bit of catch-up to do. But you guys are going big with your predictions. I've seen a couple of 4-0s in there. And as Alex just pointed out, win 4-0 and we're top 4. Which would be incredible. 1-1, it'll be a cagey game. I agree, it will be cagey. I do agree. I'm not going to predict because I haven't predicted any of the last 5. I normally predict every game, but I haven't predicted any of the last 5, and the results have been good. All right, give me 1 second. Sorry to disappear again. I will be right back, literally 5. Did anyone count whether that's 5 seconds or not? I do apologise. Yeah, I think I'm not going to predict because it doesn't go well when I do. Just to sort of give my thoughts. I'm not as confident as a 4-0 win, but I'm excited about what United can do tonight. I think we can win. I'm really trying hard not to predict here. I think we've got an opportunity to win by a couple of goals, perhaps, but I think it might be quite challenging to do so, and I think Everton will, put up a stern battle. I think Everton will be solid. I think it'll be cagey for a long time. Set pieces will be big as always in this sort of game, but so will the second ball. I think that'll be absolutely huge. I think if United can get the first goal, which has been big for us recently, it's been very important for us, then I think we can be in a good place. What we have to do better this time if we do score first is we've got to protect the lead a bit better. And I think when I say protect the lead, I mean attack the lead. If we're 1-0 up, get at them. Don't sit. Don't protect a 1-0 lead because I think we're just inviting set pieces and crosses, which we're not good at dealing with. So get on the front foot. You said that you'd be right back, but you strike me as more of a left back. Oh, I actually did play some minutes at right back. I think I've played left back before as well. I have. But I was actually more of a right back than a left back. Midfield, that's where it's at, right? Midfield is where it's at. Don't sit back. I completely agree. Get United on the front foot. Let's have an entertaining, easy for me to say, entertaining night at Old Trafford. Is there anything else that we want to look at? We've discussed this. We've discussed this. We had a conversation here. We covered this Friday, but also we have sort of naturally had that conversation because we had to pick a striker. We've discussed this and why the second ball will be important. Bruno and Cassie have got to be on it. I think Mount will be very useful here as well. Cunha. Those players are going to be key. Fixtures, yeah, we know we've got a good run coming up. The league table could look very tasty. Very, very tasty by the end of today. Recent results have been good, but I do see it as 2 without a win. So let's get ourselves back to winning ways. 6 unbeaten, 4 wins from 6 would be lovely. And let's really continue that home form. Let's continue that home form. Let's get on the front foot and let's win this game. That's the hope. That's the hope. In terms of when I'm going to analyse the game, of course, it's a late kickoff tonight, so the video won't be up today. We'll probably be talking about 10 a.m. tomorrow, I would think. And it does mean that we won't have a Tuesday stream this week, just because I'll be uploading the match analysis at the time. But we will be live again Friday, maybe before then, if there's sort of a free moment in my schedule and there's something that we can talk about. But yeah, I'd imagine the match video should be out around 10 a.m. tomorrow. And hopefully we're talking about a win. Hopefully we're talking about a strong win. Stephanie has pointed out we're 22 likes away from 100. So that's 78. I set the goal of 80. So can just 2 people who haven't liked the stream, if you could please leave a like. If some more of you could do it, fantastic. Like if we could get to 100 in the last few minutes, it would be amazing. It would be amazing. Hopefully we win and it gets ignored because of the massive UCL games. I like the idea, right, of United getting shots off, United scoring goals, winning games, and just sort of going under the radar a little bit though. Let's just go under the radar. Let's keep picking up these results, keep picking up these points, stay out of a crisis for a little while, laugh at Liverpool. Let's just have a good time and hopefully, by tonight, by the end of the game, we're in the top 5. In a dream world, we're in the top 4. In a dream world, we're in the top 4. 4-0 feels tough, as does 5-1 or 6-2. But let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. That is sort of my thought for today. That's my final thought. Is there anything else that anyone wants to bring up before we leave? Is there any other conversation that we want to have? Let me know quickly. I personally have run out of topics for today. It's been a long old international break off of the back of 2 draws as well. So, yeah, it's been difficult getting content out. It's been difficult finding things to talk about. I think we've done a pretty good job, to be fair, as a community. I think we've shared ideas well. We've had good conversations despite a tough couple of weeks without United. Finally, United are back. Hopefully, United win tonight and we're just back. And we can have a fun week talking about different tactical ideas that we see tonight. I don't know, different players moving into different positions, United evolving. Those are sort of the conversations that I want to be having this week. And hopefully by the weekend, when we're looking ahead to Palace, we're talking about a United team that is 6 games unbeaten, that is sitting in the top 5 and feeling quite cosy. Is Licha back for 10 minutes tonight? I'm trying to think of the game state where he would get introduced. I think it's only if we're comfortably ahead. Because if we're defending a lead, I just don't know that you sort of bring him in to defend the box for 10 minutes against Everton. Maybe I'm off with that. I don't know. Not sure. The wait is so long for games this season, it's awful. And I'm still not over that pathetic result to Spurs. The only good thing is good results last longer as well. And that we are now a long time unbeaten. Like we haven't lost in ages because we haven't played a lot of football. So that's the only good thing. But yeah, the waits are long. And particularly after the slightly 2 disappointing draws where we felt we should have won both. It has been a long couple of weeks. But hopefully we get back to winning ways tonight. That's the plan. Anyway, I think that is everything that we wanted to discuss today. I think we have covered pretty much every topic that I had listed. We've gone through everything here that I have on my screen. So we're going to wrap the stream up there. Thank you guys very much, as always, for getting involved. Thank you for your support. Thank you to everyone who has been waffling away in the chat, keeping things going. As always, you guys carry the stream. I'm just here. I'm just here. You guys really do all of the work. So shout out you guys. Thank you to everyone that has left a like. If you have, you're a legend. Voted in the polls, subscribed, joined the Discord server, which is linked in the description if you want to check it out. Got your notifications on, anything like that. Shout out you guys, and also those people who just sort of sit there quietly as well. I'd like it if you did a bit more, but I also appreciate you guys still very much. We'll be back tomorrow morning with a video on this game, roughly 10 AM, hopefully talking about how United emphatically beat Everton. Stream-wise, I'm not sure what the structure is going to be like this week, so we shall see when I get some free time. It won't be tomorrow because of covering the match. I don't want to block the algorithm on that video. But yeah, we will be back very soon with another stream. We'll be back with plenty of videos. Enjoy the game tonight. United are finally back. Football is finally back at Old Trafford. So let's go get ourselves a lovely 3 points, climb up the league table, and keep laughing at Liverpool.